are things to focus on to get rid of.
I know, but like you can.
You get to say you get to say that means you're showing ahead of time. Then you get to have that.
You were using the trail.
No.
My show I think came around at a time when things were becoming way more conservative. Like Ren and Stimpy, you could like
Yes, and then give birth to a park baby.
Yeah, we could never do. We couldn't have Satan. We couldn't have like hell. You couldn't call it hell. You couldn't say shut up. You couldn't do a bunch of things that are just inherent to comedy. You know, Satan and shutting up. Like I remember like an
Just
episode.
mention of your dookie was okay.
Boobies and shit are funny. Like you can't do like Satan and punching.
Well, but like, you know,
Or punching Satan. Like, remember there was an episode of Animaniacs where they go to hell because like if someone eats like too many Swedish meatballs, and they go to hell and they meet the devil and he's like, literally, one of his lines is like, I am Satan. You know, we couldn't call hell hell. We had to call it the place beneath the overworld. Which I think is funny, but it's a lot longer to say.
well, like in regards to like Dookie and stuff, when I was working on Secret Mountain Fort Awesome, like we had these super.
She worked on Secret
I worked
Mountain
on
Fort
Secret
Awesome.
Mountain, but which like maybe 5 people have seen. But like we had super weird rules, like you know, if you're going to put poop in it, you can't have it come to a point because it looks like it was excreted by something. So you need to round off the top of all the Dookie. We also had to go through and
Nipples.
we had to fix all the nipples on the characters because at one point they were kind of like coming out of the biceps of the characters and they were like, those look way too much like boobies. So we had to go through and
Because they are.
because they're boobies. So we had to go through and put the nipples inside of the boobies instead of pointing out of the boobies.
What would they have done if you could make them like look like dookies?
Or it looked like somebody excreted on somebody's boobies. That's like
That's a different show altogether.
way too many. No, it would have fun.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, amazing fixes.
Sweet stuff. I don't know, you can't really, and
They fix it.
and it seems utterly personal too, like dependent on who is doing the censoring. You know, it's.
Listen, you had that one guy that you're like, oh, this guy is gonna give us problems. Like,
Oh, there's always someone out for you, for sure, like, just wanting to poke, and just to make your character change. They make you feel like they made a difference on whatever you're working on. Like, I put my mark on it.
I shaved them nipples down.
Yes. Rounded off all the dookies.
He's like, whoever that is, you imagine them going home and being like, yep, I did it. A job well done.
honey, these kids are trying to get dookies for cartoons, and I was like, no.
They're doing it for the kids.
Yeah.
Because kids are really going to be upset by that kind of stuff.
It is turning up for the corner though. We talk about stuff like Adventure Time and some other shows that like, yeah, they're not on Saturday mornings by any stretch of the imagination, but even like I don't really give out crap any sort of home back like that. I watch Adventure Time and I'm like, this shit's okay. Like I mean, compared to some of the stuff that you hear horror tales about people working on television, kid TV especially, and now the television's kind of coming off a little bit, which I think is fun. It's definitely better than the alternative. Round off duties. What are you guys working on next? What's coming up? You guys are talking about animation projects.
Jenny was dealing with some people, some executives from various animation studios, and she was looking at Cartoon Network, and they were asking her for ideas. And at one point, anytime she like starts trying to come up with ideas for, I think more like narrative-wise, and I think she's much more visual than I am. So when she was being asked to come up with ideas, and you meet executives and they're like, hey, you have any ideas for shows? Because they're like always desperate for ideas. Especially right now for some reason. It seems like they're just completely out of shows. Or
There's
things
like a
just
total just dip in terms of just what's running the networks right now.
I
And
guess.
everybody
I don't
wants
watch
their
TV.
Adventure Time. Everybody wants to make their Adventure Time. That's the goal.
you know.
You can go into execs and they're like, just give us Adventure Time. Please. Just make another Adventure Time.
That's funny, because Nickelodeon had Adventure Time.
Yeah, and then
They passed about it, and then Cartoon Network. it makes way more sense on Cartoon Network.
It's like Disney past
Yeah, they'll put it on, yeah, they'll put it on night, in the evening time.
I don't, I can't think of anything that's like that on Nickelodeon. Like, Nickelodeon seems much more like,
What Kung Fu Panda, the animated series, isn't like that for you?
no, it's not. But she'll ask, what should I do when, trying to come up with ideas for things, and then that starts me just bullshitting.
Firing out.
Yeah, I
garbage.
just, how about, maybe some, how about I show that a cup?
Yeah, for ramen, you're like, what? I show
No.
about ramen.
That's how so we're kind of putting together a thing, a pitch for, I don't even know, we're just coming up with an idea. I don't really do pitches. I stopped doing pitches for anything anymore. I can't stand it. I can't stand that stuff. You go in to meet someone and they give you a bottle of water and you're like, how about this show where this happens? And you're like, oh, that's very interesting. And you're like, you don't think so. And you flip the table. Like, you don't understand. And I'm just like, I hate those meetings. I can't stand it. The stuff that I think is really funny, it's hard to, like, if I'm
I'll
telling
be there to hold the table down.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, like, people who know me, if I'm talking about something, they can see how I would do it. Usually these are meetings with people I don't know. They don't know what I would do would be different than someone else would do. And I just get irritated in meetings.
So what's the worst pitch meeting you've ever had?
No, I
Are they just all
have good pitch meetings, but halfway through, I just feel like, they're receptive, and they're like, oh, I've even had situations where, like, they'll sit there like, oh, I'm going to set up another meeting for, you want me to meet so-and-so.
And that's when you flip the table over.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, you know what, to hell with this, and I'm just like, I literally have, like, not gone to second meeting, because I'm thinking, it's not going to be, they're not, as much as they say they like it, they're not going to get it. And so that's why I like the idea of working with someone else who goes into these things and just isn't.
You can be the second meeting person.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm both meetings.
See, I want to do my own thing, but in terms of like the thing that we're coming up with is something more along the lines of like a kids show. But I love it because I can come up with things that I don't even think I would ever want to like stick around and work on. But I love I love stuff like Adventure Time. I love kids cartoons. I love all sorts of stuff. I just can't see myself staying and working on them because I think, oh my God, now this is my life. And I want to be doing my own thing. Like, you really have to pick the kind of thing that you want to be in health. Because you'll be in health, no matter what. It has to be worth it. Like, I'd rather do something that's way more, like, adult.
He just wants to work from home.
Yes, I do.
So,
So coming up with an idea with someone else or for someone else, like, here's an idea, you can go work on it, and I just stay home and go, it's a good show.
you're just sitting there eating your cereal,
Yeah, I'm watching it, and
Next
like,
Generation.
it's starting to suck. Fix it. So literally, we went to go get some like ramen, and we went to our favorite ramen restaurant, and I was sitting there staring at the
I love that you
chef.
have a favorite ramen restaurant.
Oh, hell
Yes.
yes.
Are you kidding?
That's awesome.
There are
Yes.
variations of quality of ramen.
It's the
You
best
gotta be
place in the
careful.
world. It's the best.
Yes.
And this was after me just constantly throwing out ideas as a joke because I know it starts irritating her. She's like, no, that's stupid. And I was watching the ramen show and I thought, how about a show where a little girl has to make ramen? That's not the idea for the show, but that's our talking the show. Although that would be an awesome show. I don't know why you're laughing. I think the first idea was, because I knew I wanted it to be a little girl, because if she's working on it, I'd rather it be like a little girl, because she's like the least typical like female person in the world, and I'm sick of
Pretty bro-y.
I'm sick of most like female, I think we're both like just disgusted with most like female characters
Yes.
in
Yes.
everything.
Ladies in cartoons.
Just get the shaft, they never get to be the funny
They always
ones.
have to be super girly.
Horrible. I just hate women in general. They're just never funny, Anyway, yes, except for her.
No, I'm also not funny, so it's fine.
But the first idea was, and you know, I made a joke, and then I started thinking, hey, wait, what about a show where there's like a little girl who, for whatever reason, has to like save Earth, like aliens are invading Earth, and this little girl,
But she's not a hero or anything, she's just a regular.
for whatever reason, she has to be the one who has to prove. She's like, hey, what if I can show you that Earth's worth saving? I can show you that Earth's got some redeeming qualities.
I think the example that you gave was, aliens who were going to maybe destroy the planet because they wanted to build some kind of superhighway or something to,
You're a hitchhiker's guy.
yeah, anyway, so they come down to her and they're like, if you don't find us the most delicious donut on earth, then we're
No, wrong.